Once there was, and once there was not, a young mother laying on her deathbed, a face as white as the roses growing outside by the window. By the end of her bed was sitting a young daughter and her husband, praying that she would be safely guided to the next world. She called upon her daughter. "Vasalisa, my dear beloved daughter, here are my last words for you. Take this doll." She took out a little doll from under her coverlet and gave it to her daughter. Just as Vasalisa, this little doll had lovely little red boots and a white apron on a black skirt and a little vest embroidered with colorful threads. "Take this doll, for whenever you are lost, whenever you are in trouble, she will assist you. Take good care of her, protect her, keep her secret, give her food and love, and she will be there for you, always, just as I will be. This, my beloved daughter, this is my blessing." And then she gathered her last breath and left her body. Vasalisa and her father mourned for many months, but just as the plowed field grow again, then life goes on, and Vasalisa's father remarried with a nice, kindly woman and had 2 daughters. Although Vasalisa could feel something like of the rodent beneath her smile, and sure enough, every time Vasalisa's father had to go out, they were cruel and mean to her. They sent her out in the cold to chop the wood so that her hands would blemish. They were envious of her natural sweetness and beauty and generosity. One time, Vasalisa's father had to be out for quite a few days, and those wicked women thought, "That is our chance. Let's get rid of her. For good this time. We'll pretend that the fire has died out and send her out into the forest, to the witch house. Yes, there she will have to go and find Baba Yaga, and she will be devoured by her, surely." Those wicked, wicked women sent lovely Vasalisa out in the wild, telling her, "Bring back the fire, or you won't be allowed in this house again." Vasalisa was scared, but she gathered her courage and went out in the dark wood. As a safekeeping, she put her hand down in her apron pocket and she felt the little doll there, and she knew she would be all right. Every time she came to a fork and she had to make a decision whether to go this way or that way, she would ask her doll, and her little doll, in a language that only Vasalisa could understand, told her to go this way and that way. And she felt happy, she felt guided, and she kept on feeding little crust of bread to that doll. A bit further on, she suddenly heard the gallop of a horse, and then she saw a white horse with a white man galloping past her, and then the day sprang, and then a red man on a red horse just galloped again, and then the sun rose, and then she saw a black horse with a black man on top, and he ran and he galloped all the way to that clearing and right into the hut that was there, and then the night fell. Vasalisa looked at that hut in that clearing and realized she had come to her destination. She could hear something in the wind, and she looked up in the sky and saw there Baba Yaga. She was flying not on a broom, not on a chariot, but on a cauldron shaped like a mortar. And she was roaring with an oar shaped like a pestle, and she would cackle and scream. Her nose hooked and her chin hooked would touch in the middle, and her hair will just flow in the wind behind her. In the clearing, the house, the hut of Baba Yaga, was standing on scaly, huge chicken legs and twirling and dancing about, and the garden fence was made out of fiery skull bones. Vasalisa asked her doll, "Is this the place we seek?" And the doll said, "Yes." Before she could say any other thing, Baba Yaga saw her and just flew down on her and said, "You! What are you doing here?" Vasalisa just stammered and said, "Oh, grandmother, please, I need fire. I need fire for my house or my people will die." "Oh, yes, I know you and your people. Lazy, lazy people. Yes, and tell me one thing, why should I give you the fire?" Vasalisa quickly asked her doll for the right answer, and she gave it to her. So Vasalisa said, "Because I ask it." "You are lucky this is the right answer," she said, quite displeased. She was hungry. "For me to give you what you seek, you must accomplish task. You must work for me, girl, and if you do it well, then you can have your fire. But if you do it bad, then, child, you will die. Now, your first task. Sweep the yard, clean my house, do my laundry, and cook my food. And then separate the mildew corn from the good one. I will be back tomorrow at nightfall. Everything must be done, or you will be my dinner." And then she flew off in her mortar. Vasalisa looked at her doll and said, "Can I do this?" And the doll replied, "Everything will be fine. Do not worry. Have a bit of food and go to sleep. I will take care of everything." The next morning, Vasalisa found that all the work had been done. All was left was to cook a nice dinner for Baba Yaga, which she did. When Baba Yaga returned, she looked around, pleased, but also displeased, and said, "Well, you are a lucky girl." And then she just snapped her finger and 3 pairs of hands appeared and started to chaff the corn. Vasalisa was really puzzled, but she had to serve the meal, and Baba Yaga ate for hours and hours and hours. She left a bit of breadcrumb for Vasalisa and a thimble of soup. Then again she called her and said, "Child, tomorrow you will do the same work again. But you have to do one more thing. Can you see this big pile of dirt there? Well, in that big pile of dirt, there is millions and millions of poppy seed. I want you to separate every poppy seed from every grain of dirt. This must be done by nightfall tomorrow, or you will be my dinner." Again, Baba Yaga flew away. Poor Vasalisa, she almost fainted at the prospect of such a task. She asked her doll again, "Can I do this?" And the doll said, "Do not worry, I will take care of it. Go to sleep and have a good rest." Vasalisa woke up the next morning and found that all the work was done again. And when Baba Yaga returned, she also again was pleased and displeased, and snapped her finger, and the 3 pairs of hands appeared and started to press the oil out of the poppy seed. While all this was happening, Vasalisa was staring at Baba Yaga, and Baba Yaga looked at her and said, "What do you want?" "Oh, please, grandmother, may I ask you a question?" "Ask, but be careful. To know too much makes you become old before your time." "What do you want to know?" "Well, I was wondering who is this white man on the white horse?" This is my day." "And who is the red man on the red horse?" He is my rising sun." "And who is the black man on the black horse?" This one is my knight." What else do you want to know?" But then Vasalisa felt in her apron pocket a little doll jumping up and down, and she took it as a sign, as that was enough, no more question. And so she said, "Grandmother, you were right. It's better not to know too much, or I will become too old too quickly." You are really wise, Vasalisa. How did you come to be so wise for your tender age? Well, this is all thanks to my mother blessing. What? Your mother's blessing? We don't need mother's blessing around here. No, thank you very much. You best be on your way now. Here, I'll tell you what, take this skull. And she wrenched a skull from a garden fence and stuck it on a stick and gave it to Vasalisa. Take this skull and be on your way. Be gone. No need to say anything. Bye. Vasalisa was going to thank her, but again she felt a little doll jumping up and down in the apron pocket, so she just took the stick with the fiery skull on it and just went on her way through the forest, listening to her doll's advice and taking every turn to go back to her little house where stepmother and stepsisters were waiting, and maybe thankfully her father was back. And as she got through the forest, she started to feel a bit uneasy carrying this stick, and the weight and the eeriness of the light coming out of the mouth and the nose and the eye holes just made her really fretful, and she thought about throwing it away somewhere, but before she could do anything, the skull spoke to her. And he said, "Do not throw me away, child. Bring me back to your home, and do not say a word about anything. I will take care of it." She just took it back home, and as she got closer to home, she could hear her stepmother and her stepsister. They could see this light coming through the forest, and when they realized it was Vasalisa, they were dismayed. They had thought that for sure now she was gone, she was dead, but they put on a really sad face because the father was back. Yes, he was back from his business in the village, and he was devastated. He thought his little girl had gotten lost in the forest. And when he saw her, he rushed out and embraced her and didn't even ask about a fiery skull burning on top of a stick. They put that in the chimney, and the fire just took on again. But all that time, the fiery skull was looking at the stepmother and the two stepsisters, looking every single move they made, hearing every single wicked thought going on. And they could feel its eyes on them, on their skin and their hair, and everything felt so hot, felt like burning, and it went on until the next morning all was left of this wicked trio was a pile of cinders. Well, that's the end of our story. I hope you really enjoyed it. I tried my best telling it from the wonderful Clarissa Pinkola Estes, and I do hope you enjoyed it too. Thank you.